Thanks for joining us at Right On Replicas, where we're proud to bring you the best scale model kit reviews on the planet. This review is brought to you in part by Rogers Hobby Center in Saginaw, Michigan, where the fun begins. Now there's one thing that builders can do to significantly enhance the presentation of their model kit builds, and 4M Club members Jim Church and Dave Mason will demonstrate how to use simple materials and some aftermarket products to make your own custom display.
Alright, what I'm going to work on is just a very small, basic base coverage. Nothing fancy, nothing like the dinosaurs or, diorama trench work. This is simple, one layer over top of obviously a small base. Pick up at most of the, hobby type stores that sell these, craft shops, whatever. And they're scrap box, and they're not expensive. If you have your own, woodworking skills, you can make them yourself. I pick up a whole lot of them at a time because you guys all know me, everything's going on a base. Nothing goes flat on a table. One, a little bit more protection before. It does kind of set things off. All right, obviously, they're not stained when you start them. So I just use a quick stain, about 2 coats on it. On occasion, like with my Red Baron, the all-red aircraft, I painted black rather than the wood, just, personal choice. Before I start, I'm going to do a little masking, because what I'm going to use on it is a couple of Vallejo products. There are others that you can use. You can whip up your own concoctions, paper mache, lots of other things. But for a small base, this stuff really works well. It's simple. It's easy to work with.
What's the tape for, Jim?
The tape is to keep the mudding material on here, not down on the edge. Guys, I've always wondered why car guys don't ever, or very rarely, don't they put cars on bases. There's all kinds of neat ways to set those things off. And I've just always wondered about that. Concrete, or even like in a field, flat grass, just something to do a little bit different on your cars. Okay, I'm going to use a darker mud because the aircraft that I'm doing is done in April of 1918.
Is that the same color you use for your water?
No, you got water there. Oh. Yeah, I know where you're going with that one. All right, it's simple. It just spreads. It's mud. It's really what it is. So, just going to take a little bit. It's like frosting the cake, basically. That's not that good. It is gritty. The one thing I really do like is it is gritty. And you don't necessarily have to add anything to it, but I generally do. Regular ground or dirt. Finally.
Cheap flour sifter from the dollar stores.
Yeah, that works too. Now, if you want to do extra texturing like on a bigger thing, if this stuff does, it molds itself very, very well to whatever you're doing. So, your tank that you brought in, something like that, the mud, set it off into the tracks, you can have a whole lot of fun with that one. All right, run the tracks across, get prints.
Oh yeah, you definitely want to do that.
Jim?
Yeah.
How long does that take to cure?
About complete, maybe 4 hours max. It goes
Depends
very quick in thickness. I let them sit overnight generally after I get moving, but there you go. It's down there.
Like a very thick version of an artist's acrylic.
Yeah, it is. But like I said, the texture in it's what I really like about it. There's a concrete that really looks good that if you want to put over buildings, for example, it gives it that nice texture in any scale. All right. Like stucco. All right. Now, I will, if you find it, yard dirt. Just add a little bit more texture. Let's see if I get it. Yeah, this one isn't real fine. I've got a whole barrel. And I'll just sprinkle. Breaks up the color. Yeah. In that part.
Now it's really looking like mud.
Until he ends the landscaping.
Yeah. Now, if I were doing, like it's a lot, the larger dioramas, I will add a lot of vegetation you know, especially, you know, anything military, anything of the dinosaurs. That's just a start. Now, because it's kind of April, I know the date area, I'll go to a combination of blended turf, and this is stuff right from over here.
What kind of product is it?
HO scale train stuff.
Yeah, the HO scale.
Woodland Scenics.
Yeah, Woodland
Woodland
Scenics on
Scenics
these.
works
Okay,
at
all right.
several
And again, I'll just do the same thing I did with the mud.
And probably just having that mixture of that and the little dirt that you use, it'll probably work good for trenching too.
Exactly. It would very well. All right, now, because it is April, I'm going to assume there's a little bit of, you know, the grass starting to come out, so a little bit more green or a little some. And you go a little high, just comes right off.
I know, but it's
What? The, well, it's an oregano green. So, yeah, we'll throw a little bit more in here just cause.
You know, you can try some of the spices that's around.
Oh yeah, but again,
Those would work.
very simple. Now,
in the cupboard.
if it was
Yeah,
in
might as
March,
well recycle.
if it were March, I'd take and I'd throw a little snow on, like I did with those two, the last two World War IIs that I did from the winter scenes. Go ahead. This is actually a product, J&R model snow, and there are a couple others that make it. Woodland Scenic snow is now pretty good. In the past it was kind of different, but it's gotten better. But you know, like I said, that was a total of what, about 8 minutes, and again, took the time. Now, if I were thinking it was really muddy, it's just kind of great. I'd run the wheel tracks, you know, a little bit depressed, but I'm going to say it's fairly solid, and you've got little clumps that are a little large, tufts of grass that are up there. So it works really well for small scales.
And for dioramas.
Now, what I will do after this is I'll either flat coat it through the airbrush. You can use hairspray. You can use, actually, even on this, just your clear flat lacquer, or you can use your acrylic flat AK Interactives airbrushed over top of it. Works like a charm. If you wanted to add, again, because it's small, I won't go into details, but if I'm putting grass clumps or something along those, just your basic scenic white glue, works like a charm. And like I said, like Ron has referred to in the past, the larger dioramas, there's a different system that you would use, to save money in one respect, using mixed of white glue and water, 50-50.
With a couple
to
of
spread,
drops of detergent
yep, to break up the
tension,
surface.
that works very
And
well.
so that's another thing with these products.
It dries clear.
Yeah, it dries clear. The
Dries
surface
clear.
tension, you don't need to put water in it.
Yeah, that's already prepared, that's different.
Yeah, it's totally different. Exactly. It's a simple, easy thing. It sets off the models, figures, whatever you want to do. And it's not a hard thing to do at all. And you know, if you want to switch this up also with other colors, you can use airbrush and airbrush colors on as well. It's another way. Aaron.
Now, if you were doing something like a super heavy tank, would it take like a lot more layers of the kind of like the plaster to show it like sinking into the ground?
No, because by scale, your base, okay, what you have, as far as it's going to sink, you can just build up the mud around the sides to give it depth. Or there's another way, if you're going to do that, you can take styrofoam or something along those lines and carve it before you do this. Carve it the depth that you want to put it in. You'll stain your treads down, and then you set the tank in there where you want to go, and then do the mud, and then set it in, and it'll mold around it. So it'll work real well for you. Little experimentation.
Here it's deeper than it actually is.
It's kind of that eye of the beholder as you're looking at it.
Does the mud stuff cling to the treads very much, or does it make a pretty good impression
Yeah,
otherwise?
you can do either or. There's also, for a larger scale, you have a mixture of mud and grass in the containers like this. Thick mud, thin mud, the whole gamut, and it works.
For different.
Now Dave Mason will explain how to use some of the simple materials that you find around the home and can find outside your door to make an excellent looking display base.
Take one.
We're doing bases tonight, I guess. I've got a few examples of what either plans or possibilities for future builds. There's a lot of different subjects depending on what you're using. Like the cars can, with the stuff out now, you can use the different Vallejos and for making the concrete or asphalt. This is a piece of walnut with the live edge. I don't have a clue what I'm going to put on there, but the shape of it can make a little interesting. Even pie or cake tin, whatever it was, you could use that as a base. You could use the cover for transporting to keep all the pieces that fall off inside of it. Your figures, these are lids off from candles. I use this piece of oak to transport semis to various nationals. This one was pretty crude. Secure with wire. Even a hunk of wood from a fallen tree. Even an angle cut on the tree, give a little something different than everyone else is sitting on the tables.
One of my personal favorites.
You can use the 2-inch styrofoam. You can get valleys and however you want to carve it. I'd recommend doing that outside, close to your property line, so the wind blows it to the neighbors. There's a lot of different things you can use for bases. Florist foam, a lot of the stuff that normally would get tossed away.
Thanks, Dave.
Well, we hope you liked this modeling tip and demo from Right On Replicas. And so that you don't miss any more, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. And you can do that easily by clicking on our icon in the lower right hand corner of any of the reviews and tips. Now, you can also find us on Facebook and at our website, rightonreplicas.com. Thanks.